Welcome to the Third Management Podcast. My name is Student Body Right, and to my left, never behind, always in front, the forethought of this podcast, Mr. Matt Diegert. You can find him at Matt Diegert on Twitter. The guy to my immediate left is too old to contemplate social media. You don't have social media, do you?
Come on, Woody.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't a private conversation. It's a public conversation. You got to talk into the mic.
Like this?
Anything. Nothing but illustrious guests. At some point, I do have to call Alec Anderson and demand at least some comp tickets for canceling 2 hours in. But there's a backup, there's a backup, there's a backup. I mean, if I wasn't going to be a podcaster, I don't know. I'd be an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah, I'm just here to have fun, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, without further ado, we do have to my left 35-year honcho for 37-year honcho for Bills equipment, Mr. Randy Woody Ribick. Big round of applause for him.
Yay for me.
He brought some hardware. We'll get to that in a minute. Woody, this is your second time coming back.
Third time.
Third. So how did you lead to making the wrong decision now 3 times? How did you go? How did you end up on this podcast dribbling on for a third session?
I was supposed to get paid. I was hoping to get paid soon, but haven't gotten paid yet. So eventually, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. And anyway, so you actually had the presence of mind to bring some hardware, of which kind of tells a story of a very long career of which you had. You were with a lot of dynamic players, a lot of hardworking players, a lot of players who have a ton of lore to them. And one of those that comes to mind when we get into the kind of like the era of, you know, kind of some mercenary position players, would be a guy like T.O. What was it working like with T.O. in terms from the equipment standpoint? Was he a little bit persnickety? Was he easy to go with, or?
T.O.'s the only player that we had that had 2 lockers. Great guy. In fact, the story that I will always remember about him is we were having practice, and my son wanted to have his autograph. And T.O. said to me, I will only sign 1 autograph for you the whole season. Fine. So I waited and waited and waited. And T.O., my son was walking around the locker room, and T.O. says, can I sign the football? I go, no. He goes, why? Because you only said 1 autograph per year. And my son does not want to take that opportunity away from me. So T.O. says, give me the darn ball.
This is so bad.
So my son gave it to T.O., and T.O. sat with my son for about a good 15, 20 minutes. Now, in the meantime, to Saturday practice, we are actually having a walkthrough out in the field house. And I forgot who the coach was. He goes, where's T.O.? I says, he's with my son. He goes, no, he should be out here. I says, T.O., you got to come inside and go outside for practice. He goes, I will come out when I'm ready. I'm talking to your son.
This is the same guy that does workouts in his driveway.
Yeah. So I went up to the coach. I said, Coach, this is T.O.'s talking to my son, Kyle. He goes, okay, done. So that's it. He's a very class guy.
Yeah, but he also put you on a quota system for an autograph that is literally 2 letters. T.O.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he got bombarded. You know, they gave him the key to Buffalo. So there's a lot of things that, you know, he was pretty much very quiet, but he had to be, but when he was loud, he was very loud.
I mean, very quiet, but it's hard to orate sometimes your message through words. A lot of times it's talk with your helmets and shoulder pads, right? But sometimes you have to make adjustments to helmets and shoulder pads. And I think there was a penultimate story I heard through the grapevine about one Barnett player. Would you share that with us?
Sure. We had a player by Bus Barnett. When we went to outfit with the helmet, he wore a few days. He said, hey, my helmet's too small. I said, what size is it? And he looked at it. It was 7 3/8. So I'm looking around. I said, I found a helmet. It was a 7.5. And I gave it to him. He goes, no, man, I want a 7 4/8. So apparently he missed.
To account for the ego.
So apparently he missed the day of reducing fractions. But it's a shame that some players don't realize what their equipment involves, you know, with regards to sizing, you know. But eventually he was happy. So happy football player is good for me.
But even when you get that equipment, it has to be in some type of vestibule. and those vestibules move, like moving lockers. What is just the most like convoluted process in all the players when you had to like shift these lockers around, or I don't want to be by this person or any of that, or
true story.
You're rubbing your thighs, so I know there's a story coming.
True story. I used to live with Fred Smirnos for 3.5 years, and
he still has a mustache. You do not.
What now?
He still has a mustache. You don't.
I don't. I never.
You are old.
I am old. I had a mustache, but you couldn't tell. When Fred had wanted his locker moved, I literally got 2 large garbage bags, put them around first I put one over my chest, got 2 large garbage bags, grabbed his stuff, picked it up like a big claw, and then I just dropped it in his locker. He thought that we disconnected his locker from where it was and put it where it is now. So he was a pig. He had a mouse living in it, which is public knowledge.
So Woody,
it wasn't to me.
We have training camp coming up. Can you kind of go into like what it takes to kind of get ready for training camp as far as from an equipment standpoint?
I hate training camp. For us to move, our equipment itself would be 3 semis. Then you have the outdoor equipment, which would be 2. Then you have the trainers have 2 semis. The weight room would be 2.5 to 3. It would take us over a week to set up, and then when we break camp, we have to be done in 1 day. We were at camp, we broke, and all of a sudden a player got in my face, and I said, "Now's not the right time to do it." He goes, "I am missing my thigh pads and knee pads." I said, "If you give some time, I've been up for 36 hours. I'm tired. I'm cranky. Just worry about it the day of the packing for the next road trip game." "No, I want him now." I said, "I'm not going to look for him now." And I walked away. But it training camp, we have everything in our complex.
Checks on checks on checks on checks, lists on lists.
It's probably one of the best complexes in the. Well, I traveled to Las Vegas Raiders last year. They have a nice complex. And the year before that, I went to San Francisco, so I know the equipment managers very well. And it's just incredible how much stuff that you don't have to move if you're at the same complex. I mean,
I think he's still burnt out because he's just stuff.
I mean, you're there for less than 2 weeks, and you have everything there. Why move? You have your equipment's there. The training department is all set. They have all the machines there. Weight room's all set. If it rains, you can go right and have a full practice instead of having in a gym at St. John Fisher. I mean, the people at St. John Fisher are nice, but not real nice.
So, Woody, speaking of equipment, you brought some nice hardware with you.
It's there.
That is the culmination of 37 years, man.
Yeah.
That is,
But I would trade all 4 rings for 1 ring.
What?
I would trade all 4 rings for 1 ring.
If anybody's not listening, say that again. Woody Ribick, 37-year head of equipment, just told us he did bring all the AFC Championship rings. Say it loud and proud, man.
I would trade all 4 rings for 1.
That's powerful. Yo, show that to the cameraman. It's moving seeing them in person. But Matt, there's a 1990 ring here. Go ahead.
So, I mean, what player
would you assign all these rings?
Yeah, we're going to ask you on each of the rings, but on the 1990 AFC Championship ring, who would you equate to that ring, and what was the biggest part of that ring?
Yeah, would you mind if we go through each year?
I know this is not going to be happy with a lot of people, but I think it's Scott Norwood. He may have missed 1 field goal,
but he got you there.
But he got us there. And right after the game, I was the very first person in the locker room.
What was that like?
And there was just Scott and I, and he was beside himself. I said, "Scott, it's not your fault. When you have a player that is, Otis Anderson is 8 yards behind line of scrimmage, and it's 5 or 6 guys missing tackling, and all of a sudden get a first down. How's that Scott's fault? It should have been."
Do you think he knew that in that moment, or do you think?
Pardon me?
Do you think he knew that in the moment, or it was just a high raise of emotion, disappointment, exhaustion? Where were you at? I mean, that's the
I was on the sidelines, probably about the 35-yard line, and I had a TV guy said, "What are you going to do if he makes a field goal?" I said, "Is he? I don't know. I don't know what."
You were that pragmatic?
Yeah.
Was that a feeling or just being, it's
I-
not over till, you know?
Exactly. It's not over till the fat lady sings.
So first and foremost, I mean, lastly on that, how right was Frank Reich on the? Was it the Black Hawk up top that pushed that wide?
We heard so many stories.
Was that Kenny Davis who said that?
There's stories where Scott has not kicked that far on grass. This is one. We heard that one of the referees saw that they were all sides, and he put the flag back in his pocket. Then you heard about the helicopters, but I mean, it's not. Yeah, there's something we heard about the laces being turned. There's so many, I don't know, reasons out there why he missed, but bottom line is he missed.
So for that first loss, and you get there for year 2, 1991, when you see that 1991 ring, who would you closely assimilate that ring to? 1991.
I blame Harry Connick.
Harry Connick Jr., the singer?
What happened was after the national anthem, the team was his group of 500 people were supposed to walk around the Bills sidelines. Instead, they walked through the sidelines. And Thurman, if you ever watch his pregame or post before the game actually starts, he will actually have his equipment or his helmet at the end we defend. By the time I was running around with my head cut off, with 500 people in the Bills area, I found it on the other side of the field.
You were the one to find it?
I'm the one that found it. So it's just a shame that security was that loose, but now
I think it enacted change, right? You're not allowed within that box anymore.
I don't know. But some people have tried to sneak in, you know, if it's a
I
single.
mean, LaShawn McCoy snuck into a Super Bowl on the back end.
But yeah, no, I mean that. So talk about the third ring. Who would you associate with that one?
1992. And what year does that Pro Bowl watch represent?
89. A great story about 89 is I was young, 40-ish, and I looked and I said, "Oh my goodness, close enough."
Sweeter.
Yeah. I walked around the locker room. I saw all these helmets from all AFC teams, and I looked around and I saw Matt Millen's helmet. Matt Millen had the helmet that was beaten up to the point that you couldn't even see the decals. So I looked at the helmet and also I said, "Abe, the head trainer for the Bills since inception." And I said, "Abe, he's got the wrong front piece of his helmet." He goes, "What? Wrong front piece?" I says, "Change it. Give me the old piece." So Abe knew Matt Millen growing up because both are from Erie, Pennsylvania. And Abe chopped the headbands into all little pieces. Matt Millen said, "Which of you MX touched my helmet?" I said, "I did." "What's he going to do, beat me up?" He goes, "Who gave you the right to do that?" I said, "Abe. Abe, he changed my helmet." "Yeah, I told him to." "Okay." Matt said a few choice words and walked away. At the game, nowadays, if Matt took a hit, he would have been taken off the field for the whole game with a concussion. Right. And Matt got hit pretty well. Matt will say he hit the guy hard and he hit him. So Matt had like when you get hit, you shake your head. And I said, "You okay?" He says, "F you." That's fine. So I walked away. So we stayed downtown Honolulu at the Ilikai, and next to us was the Tom Selleck restaurant. So after the game,
another sick piece of lit furniture. You know?
Huh?
Another sick piece of lit furniture.
Yeah. So we went to
I love him.
So we went to dinner, and also we get the bill, and we're looking around. Who paid for this? I says to my guy that I used to work with, and us the trainers, and I said, "I can't afford to pay for this stuff." All of a sudden, you see Matt Millen come by to say to me, "Hey, F you." I go, "What?" He goes, "That piece saved me." He goes, "Enjoy your dinner on me."
Thanks, Woodcock.
Yeah. Well, you got. Can you say that one?
How? Yeah, I can do whatever you want. No one's listening.
I'm trying to be clean.
No, please don't. This is just the boys' club, man.
It's
everything you need.
Nothing you don't.
What is the most egregious ritualistic equipment thing you've ever dealt with? Like, come on, man. We've let this go on long enough. You can't wear thigh pads from 82. You can't keep that face mask on. Smurless, can't with the jersey cut. You're getting a little ridiculous. I mean, Tally with the Spider-Man suit, that cost him a cool $57K, according to Bud.
But my thing is with Daryl Talley's suit, what happens if he got his arm tattooed that way? Are they going to sue him? Are they going to tell him to cover it up?
I'd have serious questions about his moral character if he had a Spider-Man suit tattooed on him. Just to be clear, I'm an Iron Man guy. It was a bad joke. Let's just move on.
Stay with your day job.
No, but seriously, what is it? Because you dealt with, like, Antonio Brown going to that whole kerfluffle about, I need my helmet. I need those air shuts and everything like that. What's, like, the farthest someone pushed it in terms of, dude, you cannot play in this equipment anymore. We have to change this out. He was so ritualistic that he didn't want anything changed, and you just had to have a reasonable conversation with him.
I would have to say the biggest concern was a player's mouthpiece. That got mad because we lost it. And we told him, go get a new one. He didn't like the idea. And what's nice for me is I had old players like Fred Smurless, Jim Haslett, Joe Devlin, Kenny Jones. Said, bring the guy to us. We'll talk to him about it. No, I don't want no issues. And all of a sudden they said, bring him over here. So I'm not going to argue with 4 or 5 guys that weigh up a total of 1,500 pounds. I'm not going to have any fights with them. And they said, Nolan, it's about time you change your mouthpiece, get a new one. See the trainers.
Well, you're talking about something as minute as changing a mouthpiece, Woody. You're changing out balls a lot. And there's a special mud that goes on the balls. Is that the most laborious piece of game day stress that you have to deal with? Because you get the balls right before the game, like especially with the flake gate and everything like that. You only get so many kicking balls. God forbid something goes in the crowd,
What's really stupid is we asked the NFL if there's a way to prepare footballs all the same way. So that way, if something was to happen with a shipment or something happened with the balls, we would be okay. Somehow the NFL figured out, hey, they're asking us about footballs, but the quarterbacks' footballs are prepared by the punters and kickers. So they said, well, you have to do it a certain way for the kicking balls, but not for the quarterback balls. Some guys will use mud. Sometimes you use a wet towel.
Just to break this up real quick, that is a very large herb. The second biggest herb ever would be Jarvis Landry. Apologize to Aaron Williams. Aaron.
Yeah, sometimes they put the footballs in a dryer. There's so many ways of doing it, but the original intent was just give us a generalized way of doing the helmet, doing the footballs. They couldn't figure it out. The thing that gets me really ticked off is that the NFL has 3 gauges that you can use to, it's interesting. 3 gauges that you can use to measure the pressure of a football.
Explain that. 3 gauges, like 3 separate instruments?
Yeah, 3 instruments. Really? And with Tom, I had the pleasure of meeting Tom Brady. And he's a great guy. The conversation lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it was
best 30 seconds of your life.
One of the best 33. So you can.
As your wife smiles.
Yeah. So you can actually have football and get 3 different measurements from the same ball. It all depends upon which instrument you use. Second thing is referees should never left the footballs where they left them. They were supposed to have them with them 24/7 because when we go to the games, they check the footballs, so they should check the pressure. But they didn't. So Tom Brady was a scapegoat.
So, I mean, speaking of other equipment and taking stuff off, putting it together, I know that you talked about it once with us, but the whole thing with Kevin Everett, I know you said you weren't there, but a lot of that stuff was prepped.
That's a good one.
Can you kind of tell us that story?
Well, what I did back then is I inspected every helmet every week. It was a practice squad, injury reserve guy, active player.
You were pretty maniacal about that, right? You were pretty maniacal about that.
So what I did was I made sure there was The fasteners were nice and clean. The metal was not rusted out. And even though I did not have anything to do with, well, a little bit with Kevin Everett, I was able to make sure that when they took the face mask off him, there was no issues. It was not like rusted shut. I've done Ron Brooks twice, and when Ron got hurt, I did not know about the severity of his injury until it was afterwards, and I felt bad because I'm usually there on the sidelines or actually on the field when a player goes down, and the players will like give me a sign, say, "Get your ass over here," and they didn't do anything with me with Ron, but they did with Ron Brooks. Ron Brooks got hurt twice. Kevin Everett only once, but it was nice. I went to Elliot Apollo's for a
Shout out to Elliot Apollo's, by the way.
Sweet. I went to the post-game party at their house at the restaurant, and they said that Kevin's looking for you. I said, "Oh, great. I mean, maybe something I did wrong." He said, "No, you're fine." I said, "Okay, fine." So I talked to him. He goes, the first thing he did was he says, "Stand up." And I stood up and he gave me a hug. He goes, "Without you, I wouldn't be giving you a hug." So I said, "Okay, fine." So I said, "What does it feel like?" He goes, "Your foot falls asleep. That's the way my body feels all the time." I said, "Beats the alternative." And apparently he wasn't that bad. I think he had like 4 kids after the incident. So I haven't talked to him in a while, but I know some people that talk to him all the time, and he just speaks highly of Buffalo.
You've seen a lot of players come and go. You've dealt with the pain of loss. You've dealt with, the jubilation of success. Who was the hardest locker to clean out? For whatever reason, knowing that, you never...
It's really hard to pinpoint because I've had so many great players. Sometimes you're happy when a player gets cut.
Cut that.
But I've had to do Jim's, Thurman's, Andre's, Bruce. I've done all the guys, and I don't like doing it, but sometimes they will thank me because I did it. I just throw everything in. I put everything nice, neat in boxes and mail to them. And I mean, when you have to pack a player's box or boxes, or it's like you're losing part of your family. I've been there for 37 years, had a great rapport with the players, and I still do. So
that was like a really moving.
Yeah, I mean,
because you start thinking about all we have right now.
Yeah, I'm excited for this season. Woody, thank you so much for joining us today. We got 2? Okay, great. We got 2 minutes. So in the last 2 minutes, why don't you tell us about the ring on your finger then? Because I know that means a lot to you.
In 2013, I got a letter from.
For some reason, I thought you were talking about his wedding ring for like 2 seconds.
No.
I got. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah. Fuck that.
And, we're going to run over in 2 minutes, by the way. I got a letter saying that I was nominated to the Minor Pro Football Hall of Fame. I can't get into my high school. I can't get into my college. Definitely can't get in Canton. And I talked to Daryl Talley. I said, DT, I got an opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame for minor pro football. And he goes, what's the issue? I said, I got my ring. He goes, buy the damn thing. So I bought the ring. I wear it proudly. I know I was inducted in 2013, but I'm in the same hall as Vince Lombardi, Johnny Unitas, Bill Walsh, Sam Weish. I got me a Lou Picone, and of course, I got inducted before Jim Kelly. So I feel good about that.
If these stories aren't told, they go into the ether. And I just want to say, Woody, it's been a pleasure, knowing you, getting to share these stories with you, getting to share meals with you, welcoming Matt in with the Paulo's family and everything like that. And we just want to thank you for coming out. If anybody wants to come in and check out the authentic AFC Championship rings, Matt, it is. Hey, Pat, everything you need.
Nothing you don't.
That's the Third and Manswell podcast. We appreciate you guys coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.